Trump transition team is making clear that when he gets into office, the way that the White House and Trump specifically interact with the media is going to face some big changes, especially when it comes to which press outlets are allowed to be involved in the official White House press conferences. We've got a couple different takes on how they're going to modify the relationship between the executive branch and the media. First, we have Reince Priebus, obviously very highly placed in the transition team for Trump. Here he is talking with Hugh Hewitt.
What are the plans for the press corps and that traditional approach?
And I hate blowing things off because I'm not doing it on purpose. Just so happens that we're actually talking about those things right now, and what the new tradition, I guess you could say, should be in the Trump White House. You know, this was the first front row assigned seat issue, as I understand it, started in the Obama administration. In the Bush administration, you just took a seat. And I guess there were a couple people that have had reserved spots, but for the most part, the more formalized reserved seating piece came in over the last 8 years.
So in the era of Trump, they're like, facts, who cares? So that's not true. The things he just said are not true. Obama didn't start the assigned seating. It's been happening since 1980, 81, okay? And so Reince Priebus either didn't bother checking it, even though he's the chief of staff for the president, is about to go on air to talk about it, or thought, who cares about the truth? I'll just say it was Obama, and we'll just, pick our favorites and decide to rearrange everything. And the reason they do this is power. Because if the White House press corps is deciding who sits where, well, then you can't do carrots and sticks with the press.
Which is exactly why it was transitioned over to the White House Correspondents Association having it in the first place. So they wouldn't have to get involved in the constant petty bickerings over who gets a front row seat and who doesn't.
That's right. But now, in the Trump era, oh no, we're going to pick favorites. By the way, sometimes he gives MSNBC flack, Trump does, but he does with almost all the different media outlets. But in reality, remember that Trump is being paid by NBC. He's an executive producer on an NBC show called Apprentice. So we have this, or at least has a show on the air with NBC, and hence it leads him to having a lot more money. So could he pick reporters based on who's going to profit him more? It's the era of Trump.
Yeah, God help you if you are part of that press corps and you tweet something critical of him. You don't think he's going to be like kicking you out the next day? He will notice that on Twitter. Now we have a little bit more from Priebus. Let's continue with that.
The traditions, while some of them are great, I think it's time to revisit a lot of these things that have been done in the White House. And I can assure you that change is going to happen, even on things that might seem boring, like this topic.
There are gonna be people literally hawking like survival seeds and disaster bunkers in the White House press corps. Like, you don't think he'll bring in some of the shadiest fake news websites in the country? He'll do it. And yeah, as Cenk said, the seats have been assigned for more than 3 decades. It's not just a random scrum that goes on and you get to decide every day who's there. But this is just a part of the way that they're going to demonize some parts of the media and elevate other shadier parts of the media. Some of the people involved in the transition are right in lockstep on this philosophy. So here's a tweet from Michael G. Flynn Jr., I believe it is, referring to a Washington Post article. Another article by the failing fake news that is the Compost. Isn't that clever? It's the Washington Post, but it's the Compost because it's bad and it's communist. Should they continue to operate when they continue to get everything so wrong? And so this is a guy who his father is involved in the Trump transition, is going to be in the Trump White House, questioning whether the Washington Post should even be allowed to operate if they write an article that he doesn't like.
So
that's a little bit, that should send a tingle down your spine there.
Already on the campaign trail, Trump has banned Washington Post, BuzzFeed, Politico, and Huffington Post at different events that he's done. And that was before he had any power. Wait till you get a load of them now.
Yeah.
So you write the wrong article about Trump, and soon you'll be saying,
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.